Hi, I'm Chris Stirewalt, and it is, in fact, time for Power Play Internet. Hello, how are you? It's good to see you again. So here's the thing. There are still approximately 10 billion people running for the Republican presidential nomination, but only 4 of them have any stroke. That's Marco Rubio, that's Ted Cruz, that's Ben Carson, and that is, of course, Donald Trump, the frontrunner since really July. He had a little hiccup there with Carson, but by and large has led the field with a consistent share of the vote at about a quarter of the Republican electorate since July. So what are the Republicans going to do about this? Because most of the folks in the party are nervous about what could happen if Donald Trump actually somehow ended up with the nomination. What are they going to do? And what does this mean for all the people who are out of the running? They're out of the running. They're back in the back. I'm sorry. People who know how this will go, or can guess anyway, include Ben Wikler, whose name I think I said wrong another time, and I'm sorry, Ben. Ben Wikler, who is the Washington director for MoveOn.org, and Mike Shields. He is the president of the Congressional Leadership Fund. He's a former chief of staff for the Republican National Committee. So there are 5 candidates who are sitting on 14% of the vote. They're dividing 14% of the vote in the Quinnipiac poll that was out this week. 5 Republican candidates splitting up 14% of the vote. That means they're not doing particularly well, but those are 14 points that Marco Rubio, if he had, if they mostly accreted to him, would put him in a tie or ahead of Donald Trump. How does the pressure go on those lower tier candidates? And this includes Jeb Bush, this includes Chris Christie, this includes John Kasich. On these guys, how does the pressure go for them about staying in the race?
Well, you know, these are national polls, and what those candidates are looking for are the polls in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, Nevada, right?
Sure.
They've got to get one of the sort of 3 tickets, I think there is, out of those early state primaries and caucuses.
Okay.
So look at Chris Christie. He's in that group that you're talking about. He's really making a huge play in New Hampshire. I think he's done 37 town hall meetings or something like that.
Yep.
Just got a newspaper endorsement. Well, my point is, though, as long as they're raising money, as long as they have donors that believe in them, and as long as they can keep working in the early states, they're still going to be in the race. But you see the calendar, the way the RNC designed it was, as soon as you get through with those early states, then things change, and that's when you're going to see some consolidation. You're going to see some people dropping out. Voters are going to go with some of the other candidates. Are they going to stay in? Are all these guys going to stay in through all of February?
I think they're all going to try, and I think they should try, because they can all see that the guys
because you're a Democrat
are unelectable. Well,
right.
I'm a Democrat, but I also remember the last however many primaries. Look at 2012, right? There were moments when all these different people were on top. Now, the fact that Trump has been on top this whole time is a fascinating disaster that's unfolding in our midst, but it seems almost certain that there are going to be moments of spiking for anyone who can afford to stay in long enough to do it.
But that's not true. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen? How many frontrunners were there in 2012?
There were 4. There was Mitt Romney was consistently on the increase, and then he dealt with Perry, Kane.
At this time, my former boss, Newt Gingrich, had just replaced Herman Cain as the front runner.
That's what I heard.
And then it was Romney and then Santorum beat him. And here's the thing. Nate Silver, everyone who's watching on the internet, go Google the Nate Silver column he did on the volatility of these types of races, because the voters don't pay attention until the very end.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so the local reporters matter more.
60 days, but now
but you get past Christmas, past New Year's, you've just got some voters in those early states that go, you know what, I know there's a bunch of noise out there. I'm going to start paying attention a little bit later. They're the one. That's when things start to change.
This is going to be okay.
I think everything's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine.
It's going to be totally fine.
It's going to be cool in the gang.
That's right.
It's going to be entertaining, is what I think it's going to be.
Okay, but my point is that Trump has structurally been different. Trump has actually been a lot more like Romney than anybody else. He's been steady. His supporter, now he hasn't been able to increase like Romney did, but his support in that same Quinnipiac poll, his supporters overwhelmingly, not overwhelming, but compared to everybody else, are with him. Everybody else says, well, they're peripatetic. I may go here, I may go there. I like Rubio, I like Cruz, I like somebody else. Carson people or the Trump people are with Trump.
I think there's a big difference between a Romney and a Trump, which is that Trump doesn't have an organization. There's hair, which is an extraordinary difference. Not that Romney's hair is any slouch. But,
no.
But Trump doesn't have an organization or an establishment behind him or the network that can support and defend him if things start going south. I remember Howard Dean in 2003. Seemed like
that's
this
a good analogy.
Explosive juggernaut. And then there was this one moment when all the air left the balloon.
But the moment before that, now see, I still think all those lower tier guys, if the Republicans are serious, have to drop out of the race, and they have to get serious about focusing on what's going on and their personal personal journeys to excellence are not important. But I'm a mean person. But when it comes to Howard Dean, it is true that we're going on to that wasn't great for him. But the damage had been done, I would argue, by a series of ads that were run against Howard Dean that was actually a team-up between Dick Gephardt and John Kerry and others that got together. Their organization said, we got to get Dean. Are Republicans going to do that?
Yeah, I think that further makes my point. You get after New Year's, right? You start having the campaigns start to run these paid media campaigns. The mail starts dropping. The TV ads are running. They're running in very concentrated media markets in the early states only, not nationally. That's when you start to see this volatility, and that's when you see Howard Dean dropping. You saw Herman Cain and the Newt dropping. That's the sort of thing that happens, and so I think people can take a little faith in that things are going to change after New Year's.
Internet. Mike Shields thinks you've been wasting your time, and you didn't need to watch any of this. Ben Wikler believes in you and cares, and he cares.
You have the power.
All right, guys, we thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. And Internet, we always appreciate you, and we hope you come back for more Power Play real soon.